Hey everyone, Durf here again. Uh, let's talk about skill books, what they are, how to use them, and some things to look out for when you're putting them on your generals. This is just some very basic information to hopefully help some newer players that don't really understand the mechanics of the skill books. Hopefully, this will help you prevent making a lot of mistakes that I made early on. So let's jump right into it and see what we got here. So a skill book is basically uh, additional training you can give your generals, if you will, right? So uh, let's take a look at Princess Lucy here. All your generals are going to have a gold book. Uh, that is what defines this general and what their main focus of their specialty, if you will, is. As we'll see here with Lucy, her gold skill is increases resource gathering speed by 15%. So that's a nice little thing to have for when you're putting your troops out into resource tiles to farm. Uh, you'll notice she has three plus signs down here. These are all positions you can add more skills. Uh, so when I click on one, it's going to take me to a window here that has all of these skill books that I've acquired uh, throughout killing bosses and winning events, and you can even buy them uh, for gems. And when you're going to add your skill books, uh, the one thing you need to know right out of the gate when you put a skill on your general, uh, every book you add after that has a chance of replacing an existing book. So before you start adding books on your general, make sure you have several copies of the books that you want to add, uh, and identify which books you want to add before you even start. Uh, just for demonstration purposes, I'm just really going to go with ones that I already have a lot of that I'm not too worried about burning through here. So, since Princess Lucy here, her gold specialty is resource gathering speed, so she's a gathering general. I want to give her some skills that are going to uh, coincide with her main specialty. So I want to do like we'll just do ore, stone, and lumber gatherer. So I want to add these three books to her. I'll just start here with ore, and you'll see it says this skill has a 0% chance to replace one of the existing skills. Well, there's no existing skill. You'll never be able to replace the gold book. So I'm going to go ahead and add that first. So you see I've given her this level 1 ore gatherer's book. I'll go up the list now to Stone Gatherer. Now it's going to tell us the new skill has a 50% chance to replace one of the existing skills. So it's a 50-50 shot. That skill is either going to go into this second slot or it's going to override my first one. And so far we did good. So we'll go right up to Lumber Gatherer. Now we have a 75% chance to replace one. Well, let's see what happens. And it did. It replaced the level 1 ore gatherer with lumber gatherer. So now, got to try to add this ore gatherer skill book. Hopefully it'll slide into that third slot. Try it, and success. That was easy. Normally it doesn't go that smoothly. Normally you're going to bounce back and forth several times to get the three books that you want. Uh, Once you have your books on there, I would advise always using level 1 books until you have the three locked in that you want. Once you have those three locked in, you can then switch them out for higher level books. So this level 1 lumber gatherer increases lumber gathering speed by 15%, right? If we look at a level 4 lumber gatherer, increases lumber gathering speed by 45%. So once you have your 3 base skill books down, when you go to replace uh, any of them, a level 4 lumber gatherer is going to replace a level 1 lumber gatherer. It will not mess with these other 2 books here. So as long as you're staying with the exact same named skill, the level won't change anything else. So I can go ahead and give her the level 4 lumber gatherer, and I want the ore, level 4 ore gatherer, and finally I want the stone gatherer. So now my Lucy has uh, 15% regardless of what I'm farming. And if I'm going after lumber or wood, I'm going to add an additional 45% uh, for a total of 60%. So a pretty considerable increase right there just by adding these books. Uh, that's skill books in a nutshell, right there. That's the basics of how you actually apply them. Uh, Now we'll step into some of the more uh, advanced concepts, more things that you should be considering and looking out for, especially when it comes to having a general and an assistant to that general, right? So I have Constance, who is also a uh, gathering general. She actually brings an extra 20% resources back, as well as increasing troop load. Troop load is how much stuff your troops can carry. So it doesn't matter what type of troop it is, they are going to bring back 20% more than they would without using Constance's gold book here. Uh, so since she's a level 20 general, she can have an assistant when she goes out on the march. And if I want to pair these 2 up, uh, Constance to bring extra resources and Lucy to bring those resources faster, I think that's a pretty good pairing, right? So what you want to do, uh, even before you put skill books on your general, you want to identify that the 2 generals you want to use, what skills you want on your main, what skills you want on your assistant, and then you need to determine if those skills will cancel each other out. And I'll show you what it looks like when skills cancel each other out. An easy way to do it is if you go to your wall, go to your defense general, and assign first your main, which is going to be Constance here, and then apply my assistant, which is going to be Lucy. So you'll notice this book right here is grayed out. This is my ore gatherer book, and you'll see when I click on it, it says up here, this skill is the same as Constance's ore gatherer skill, and it will not take effect. So you're going to get the benefit of Constance's ore gathering book. Uh, so if she had a level 4 book, or right now it's a level 1 book. So even though Lucy has this level 4 down here, uh, the primary general Constance has a level 1. It's going to take priority. Lucy's ore gathering skill has no effect at all. So it's a wasted effort. Really, all your assistant general is useful for is these books and her specialties if you have her specialties activated. Uh, Gear on an assistant general does nothing. There's no need for it. Uh, so you don't want to waste these slots on a book that's going to cancel out like this. So it's one thing to keep in mind when you're putting your books on and determining and trying to determine what books to use, uh, whether they'll cancel out or not. And it's not just the three skill books that can cancel out either. The gold books can cancel out. So let me throw a Hestia on the wall here, and she has mounted troop attack buff of 45%. I also have a mounted troop attack book on her to give her an additional 25%. So if I wanted to give her an assistant, I know this guy will actually cancel out. Now, if you look, his gold book is the same as Hestia's level 4 mounted troop attack. So you are now losing his entire reason for being, right? His gold book is worthless here, as well as his mounted troop hit point book does not take effect. So this is 2 out of 4 of the only things we want this guy for aren't aren't able to be used. So gold books and of course the skill books can be counteracted. So just something to keep in mind there. Uh, Another thing to keep in mind when you're trying to determine your main general and your assistant general and everything else is some generals can't take certain books. Like some generals can't take an attack book. So if I look at this Yahoo Septimus Severus, right? Uh, let's actually go and look at him on his general tab here and find this guy, and you'll see that he has a increases siege machines attack by 35% and hit points by 20%. So he has a siege machine buff. So I would come in here and look and say, you know what, I want to give him a siege machine attack book as well. And I'll come down, I'll start looking. There's my range bonuses. There's my siege machine attack right there. Go to apply it. And it says the general already has the skill at a higher level. So this guy cannot take an attack book, uh, at least not for Siege Machine, right? I would have to then, find other books that would complement his main skill and apply them accordingly. Uh, that may be an instance where, it may be if I had an assistant, which wouldn't be this guy, but for demonstration purposes, I thought, you know what, I can put a Siege Machine attack book on this guy and use him as an assistant, right? So along that thinking, I'll come over here to my wall and see how it shakes out. So I'll pick this guy and his assistant, and blammo, no good. It's the same as his main skill. It won't take effect. So these are things to consider when you're trying to determine, what skills, what generals, everything else. Can he take an attack book? Can the assistant take the attack book? So on and so forth. Uh, as far as, you know, what books you need to be using or should be using or anything like that, I'm not the guy to give that kind of advice. There's plenty of resources. Of course, always ask your alliance members. I'll look at websites. There's certain sites that I like this one, the One Shield Gamer site. You can actually look up a general, and they actually give some suggestions for different builds you can do for them. So if you look down here, we'll see builds for Constance, the Gatherer build, right? So their recommendation, out of choose 3 of any of these books, which is what I just did, right? And make them all level 4s, and it even goes even deeper into equipments and how to refine the equipment and everything else to build this general uh, to the highest possible level of a gathering general can be, right? And your attack generals and everything else, defense generals, wall generals, they all have suggestions for how to build them, and it's going to be specific to what you are wanting your generals to do. Uh, I may only want this Constance to just be my food gatherer, right? And I wouldn't care about having these other three books on her because I have 5 copies of her. I send the food one to the farm. I send the wood one to the salt. So uh, it really is dependent on your gameplay and what you're actually trying to do. So uh, skill books in a nutshell, they get very aggravating. We got lucky. My one example, I only had one that I had to replace. I've gone back and forth and done it a dozen times at least. So like I said, you want to make sure you have plenty of your level ones before you get started putting them on. You'll also be able to go to your academy and you'll notice this skill book shop here. So you can actually go in here and you can look and see different uh, skill books that you can just buy with gems. Mart size, I always buy that when I see that one. Uh, just like anything else, you can refresh the list with gems and you can go through and find the exact books that you're looking for. It can get kind of costly. Uh, a lot of times it's just best just to wait until you get the books that you want, and then you can, from gathering, collecting treasures from monsters and whatnot. And what you can do when you come into your uh, items here is I'm trying to find. I got too much crap in here. So you'll see I have this skill book page, right? Collect 10 skill book pages to compose one level 4 skill book chest, and the skill book chest would then just give you a random skill. Uh, you can get these skill book pages by gathering, by several killing bosses, etc. Uh, you can also get these skills from I'm gonna shoot down. So when you look at your special tab and your items, you can see all these different skill books I have. I'm going to shoot down to these yellow ones are level 3s. Usually all I use the level 3s for is this function right here to disassemble them. And what that does is it's a level 3 skill book. It gave me 3 skill book pages, right? Uh, there's a level 4. Trying to find if there's possibly a level 4 that I wouldn't. I got a bunch of these. I'll disassemble that. I only got 2 of them. There, I'll do one. And I got 4 skill book pages, right? So when we come back here, you see I now have 16 of them. I'll compose one. Got a level 4 skill book chest that is in here somewhere, right there. You can check on the details. Pretty much got a 2% chance of getting any level 4 skill book. I'll open it, and I got ground troop hit points. So that's another way you can build the books that you need if you're lacking the specific ones that you want. It's all up to chance. So hope that helps. Hope it doesn't make more questions for you. Uh, like, subscribe, buy my merch. Have a good day.